Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Green Factor, a show where we talk about green design and the business of sustainability. I'm your host, Haris, the Green Carpenter, and today we're going to talk about impactful slide presentation. With me today, we have guest Mr. Irvin Hoh from Power Visual Storytelling. Hi, Irvin.
Hello, Harif. Hello, everyone that's tuning in.
So Irvin and me was part of a group. So we have a mastermind group. So Irvin is one of the member, and he does a lot of training for slide and design presentation. He have taught brands like Shopee and what uh, later he will share a little bit more about himself. But I found that right now there are a lot of companies, especially social enterprise or businesses that are focusing on causes and all that. We do a lot of presentation and pitching. So what I found out in terms of pitching with hundreds and hundreds of investors, clients, and all that, that slide design are very important. So that's why I feel like we need to talk about it, and that's when I decided to bring specialist Urban to come in and share with us today in terms of how we can make our presentation better. So before we go into the topic, maybe for the benefit of the viewers and listeners, Avin, can you share a little bit about your journey in this field?
Right. So yeah, thank you, Harif, for inviting me for today's sessions on talking about slides design. Yeah, my journey is a bit unique as I'm not a designer, a designing by background. I'm not a graphic designer or what. But how did I ended up as part of a slides design or presentation slides design? Basically, I'm an engineer by academic. As you know, many people what they study, they never ended up with the job they're working on. Yeah, I'm an engineer by academic, but a strategist by profession. Why? Because after engineering, I went into consulting, sales, and marketing, strategizing sales, marketing, and projects and all those things. Yeah, as you know, consultant more on the public and private sector in handling their business management consulting job, right? But throughout the whole career life, I do have designer by heart. I like to design slides as what ended up that where the talent of me creating slides found out during my consulting period where we design a lot of slides to present it to our stakeholders. That is where I learn a lot of skills in getting the message across by effectively how to put those message on the slides. So that is where I found out my skills and then turn that into a kind of a talent and now package it and make it as a previously as a side hustle, as in like I do have a full-time job last time working with one of the largest bank and also some government agencies. So from there, I built a side hustle in conducting part-time trainings and the like. But now I quit and now fully focus as a full-time trainer in training on slides designs, visual storytelling, data storytelling, and the like. Yeah, so that is pretty much about my journey in how I venture into slides design, Arif. Yeah.
So thank you for the introduction, Avin. Um, I think what we want to start the topic is why is slide design important? Because we've done a lot of slide design, and some of us think that we have content or important story to tell, and then when we put it in design slide, how can we? Why is it important that we make it as impactful or as much time we put effort into the design than the storytelling?
Yeah, presentation slides, yes, is important as in like slides is one of the communication in any corporates or any communications. What we say is a visual communication where you present, but yet you need to show something in order to complement to your message that you are delivered in your presentation. Be it for pitching presentation, you are pitching something, you are proposing something, or you are just merely updating your reports, project updates and financial updates or whatsoever. But yet, we still need certain visuals in order to give credibility or deliver the message in a more precise way or more effective way when people look at the visual, right? So my ex-boss turned into mentor and now friends, Sri Dara Naidu. He told me, once he told me that in in the corporate or in business, there are three words basically. One is trust me word. When people trust that you will do something, right? So that is trust me word. The second word is more on a tell me word, where people just tell that, okay, I have done this, I have done this, this is how we do, this is how we do. They just tell, right? But what is more effective is to show me word. Show me word is that you have something to show people. So in a presentation, we cannot just merely talking or delivering the message by just talking, right? So in order to complement to our message, right, we need to show something. That is why slides is very important, is to help to complement your message and also to help your audience to understand what you are trying to deliver in the presentation. Yeah, so that I think that is pretty much why it is important.
So it's what you're saying is important, and what you the points that you made are important. So you have the ear when you talk, it's about the ear, right? And then
Yeah.
when you show the presentation, it's about the eyes. So we need to make sure that all as much senses are involved in the communication, so that we get the impact that we want. Because
Mm,
sometimes when even if the slides are really nice, but the way you talk is like really boring and monotonous, it's also not that good, right? So we need to
yes.
have everything in order for us to get the best in terms of communicating our ideas and presentation. So
Mm.
but however, in terms of design or aesthetics and this kind of thing, it's mostly people say that it's subjective. So how do you differentiate between good design and bad design?
Right. Talking about design, right? Okay. Beauty is the eye of the beholder. That's a word that always people say, right? It's quite subjective. Some might like the design, some might not like the design. But an effective design, it is not just about aesthetic. You put it rightly, Harif. The design, right? Many people will take it as to impress. When they design slides, they want to impress. So some might like to impress people when they design slides. Some might feels that, okay, when they want to present their time, they need a lot of informations in order to show to the evidence for the audience to know, right? And some might afraid of speaking in front, they make their slides too wordy so that they can read it out during the presentation, right? So some of the example bad slides are those slides with a lot of text heavy. I don't say a lot of bullet points, but bullet points still valid sometimes when you want to present, but text heavy, a lot text after text, sentences after sentences, paragraph after paragraph. Those are really a no-no. Why? Because human, right, cannot sync two things together. When they read and listen the same thing, right, then our brain cannot function well. When they listen and see the thing, that will function very well. Yeah. So that is what we need to take care about that. Some other example of bad slides is that they make visual element as a decorations, right? Some people think that, okay, I still have space at the side, okay, just quickly go and Google some images and just put on the slides so that the slides doesn't look so plain, right? The background sometimes looks so pale, so plain, and they just look for something and put as a background. So those are decorations, we are saying, okay? And colors also should complement to the message or complement to if your company have a branding, right? So some brand guidelines, some colors that we should be aligned back to the branding, right? So to cut it short, right? A good slides basically to have certain elements that work together, right? What we call as a design principles that we put together about the color, about the layout, the positioning, and those things. And there is one mantra said less is more, right? Doesn't mean that you cram everything, your slides will look good, right? Give some breathing space so that when your audience look at your slide, it doesn't feel like it's too cramped and too messy. Yeah. So some of these things, and also data, right? Nowadays, a lot of company present data, right? Data, numbers, charts, right? So a bad slides is that they just copy and paste default looking charts from Excel or from anything, right? A good design slides, basically the charts, it is not the default chart, but how the charts brings out the message, right? It is not about the data and the numbers, it's about the insights behind it. How can we visualize it out? That is very important. So that is one of the good slides if you want to present data a lot. Yeah. Yeah. So that is a
Yes.
bit about good and a bad.
Yeah, so yeah, we do have habit of like putting everything in one page, right? Because we don't want to have the space be like, oh, there's some space here. Have to put something, either logo or
True. Yeah.
animation and all that, right? I think
Mm.
it it used to be in a way like lecture last time. We used to exposed to it, and we do use it. But I think as time goes by, the audience demand more, and like you say, I see less is more. We need to try to as less design element or word as possible, but it needs to also have an impact in terms of what you're saying. It amplifies,
Yeah.
so I think that goes to our next question, which is in terms of uh, if you want to design something, let's say a pitch or presentation to your boss or something. So, what are some of the consideration when you want to design this kind of thing?
Yeah. So some considerations, let me guide you all through with some slides that have prepared. Huh? So, right, some consider before talking about the considerations when we design something, yeah. So many people will think that presentations is painful, you know. It is not about the script and also the speech that we need to prepare for the presentation, but the slides, if you need to present it with the slides, right? Some people will think that it's a painful moment because mainly your slides might be cluttered with text and numbers, mismatched with colors and fonts, right? Unstructured flow after sometimes you have presented, but yet your audience still confused what you are trying to present, right? Messy looking with unprofessional use of visuals, struggle with diagrams and charts if you have numbers to show, yeah? And most important, sometimes you might have brand guidelines that define you what color to use, what font to use, and how to package all this together. And many of us feels it's a painful moment because not many of us learn about designing slides. Right? During school times, there is no courses or no lectures or no classes regarding designing slides. We have to trial and error every time when we want to present our thesis or our project. Then we just try and error, just bang on the wall and just design something and present, right? So, but many of us, right, will always think that, oh, how good, how great if I have the creativity in designing size, or if I can wow and impress my audience, right? So that is not the only way, you know. Designing slides is not about just about creativity. We have to step back and ask ourselves, right? What are the contents supposed I need to be presented? How can I visualize those content? Not just putting paragraph of words or whatsoever. How can we visualize the content? But talking about visualization and the content, we need to take another step back to understand what is the purpose of your presentation. How can we structure the information, right? For a pitching of proposal, for updating project reports or your financial update, or maybe you just being invited to talk about certain topic, there are certain structures in your presentations that you can put in place properly so that when your audience follow through your presentation, they understand what are the sections and what are the content you are talking about. So the structure, the visuals, and the designs are important when we want to design our presentation slides. So I hope that I explained to make you realize that beautiful is good. Yes, beautiful is good. Presentation slides is not just about how it looks like and feels like. It's not about the color that you put, the typography, the audio, video, and people put animation also. Something fly in, fly out, zoom in, zoom out, all these things, right? So those things are good to make people feel and impress, right? But the most important is that an effective and impactful presentation slides, the functional is better. Yeah. So make sure that you work through the content to bring out the key message that you want to deliver. It is about the structure, the flow, the focus, the format, the balance, and the consistency of things in your presentation style. That's why if can achieve both is ideal lah, right? To get beautiful and the functional slides in order to make it impactful. So if you are Apple fans, you should know the late Steve Jobs always put it this quote: "Design is not just what it looks like and feels like. Design is how it works." Right. So how your slides is being worked together, all the elements in getting the message delivered effectively to your audience. So one good thing is that you don't have to be a designer or an artist to create slides, because there are certain elements that can guide us, the framework that help us in designing slides. If you look at all this, some of my portfolio, right? So each and every slide, they should have some structure in place. They should have visuals in place to visualize the content, and also the design element, the color, the positioning, the layout, right? All these things blend together that make a good slides, right? When just to simply answer your question in a more visual way, Harif. So I have prepared this one, basically what considerations in creating effective presentation slides or impactful presentation slides. It always maximize and put together three things. Talked about the design, but before talk about the design, the visuals. How can we visualize our message? Not about text, but about the visual elements, and how can we structure it? So when we talk about structure, is how to make our presentation flow relatable and organized to our audience. When we talk about visuals at time, what visuals are relevant to the message, and how simply we can make it into a more something for people to see. And lastly, when we talk about the design, this is not about decoration. It is about how to prioritize what is the important and what is not important, and how to make the slides looks consistent throughout the whole presentation. So this is pretty much a short answer to your question about consideration in getting the effective presentation. Yeah, Arif.
Awesome, awesome, Irvin. For those who are listening and not watching, so there is a presentation slide, and if you have some trouble understanding few of the concept, to look at the full live video on YouTube. So back to the question. Um, when I start my presentation, I normally I use PowerPoint long time ago, and then after a while I found like Prezi. You know Prezi? So it's
Yes.
an interesting thing when you can do presentation, and then right now after that I use Canva. So
Mhm.
and by now what I found is like PowerPoint is actually still the best, and I'm using a lot of it now. So the next question is like, what are some of the tools that you think that can help us in terms of making better slides?
Well, talking about the tools, right? You rightly put so. Tools is just the tools that help us to design our slides, right? So be it you master in PowerPoint or Canva or Prezi or PictoChart, also another apps that help us to can do that. With me, there are quite a lot of apps and softwares out there, right? So the fundamental knowledge basically we should know before we use any tools, not just about the technicality of the tools of how to add things and how to change things, but the knowledge and the fundamentals of getting the message right and how to visualize it. Right? Be it you using PowerPoint or Canva or PictoChart or whatsoever, you can change color, you can add image, you can add icon, you can add all those things. But when to add icons, when to use icons, when to use image, when should we use a big font, when should we use a small fonts, all these things basically, it is the knowledge behind other than using the tools, right? So yes, indeed, I still prefer using PowerPoint. Why? Because it comes along with my Microsoft Office, right? So I don't need to subscribe to other tools. But yet, some other tools they have their a bit more advanced functionality, like deleting the background, right? PowerPoint latest version, they still allow you to delete the background, right? But in those software or applications like Canva, they can allow you to delete the background in a more precise way. You just click, then it will straight away delete. And most of the time, it managed to delete the background that I wanted, right? As opposed to PowerPoint, sometimes I need to trial and error to see where I want to delete. I need to rework on the suggestions from PowerPoint. Yeah. So yeah, so got good and bad, but depends which one that you think is suitable for you. There is no one size fits all. Yeah, even for myself, I also blend together with few tools. Right, I use PowerPoint. I do use Canva. I do use also Google Slides. Sometimes my client use Google Slides. I have no choice but have to use Google Slides. So as I said, tools is just a tools. PowerPoint is just a tools. If you misuse the PowerPoint, right, then it become a powerless point, meaning that the point that you deliver is powerless. You can't even reach to your audience, right? So yeah, these are some of my, I mean, my opinions about the tools that I use. Yeah, Arif. I think you are muted, right?
Sorry, sorry. What
You see,
about
tools is tools, right? If you never use
yeah,
it properly, yeah, got it,
yeah.
got it.
So like data storytelling. So in
Hmm.
terms of making charts and all that, is there any specific thing you can look into online in terms of making those nice kind of visualization of data?
Oh, okay. Talking about data visualizations, of course, when you talk about data, many people relates to Excel where they work a lot with numbers to get the data and those things. But of course, outside there, there's a lot in the market. There's a lot of others, more advanced tools and sophisticated tools. I can say that can allow you to make it more advanced, like Tableau, Click, right? Power BI is an extension of Excel that also can help us to visualize data. But down to the fundamentals, lah, it is not about the data and also to impress by creating fancy looking sophisticated chart, right? Mostly presentation of data, we just want to make it clear and understandable insights that your audience need to know. So it is about the technique and the concept behind on how to find the message from the data, how to visualize the message, and how to build the message into the chart so that when audience see your chart, they roughly know straight away what is the message that you want to deliver. Yeah, there are
Hmm.
quite a number of tools out there, but yet I still back to the concept and the fundamentals. Tools is just helping us, but we need to know what is the basics behind. Yeah.
Understand, understand. So because a lot of us don't go to design classes or design slide design training, so um, when you are training um, the participant, what goes inside the design training?
Okay, what goes inside the design training? So I do have design jobs and also design training, as in like slides design, data visualization designing training courses. So the two flagship program that I carry, visual storytelling, which is more on presentation slides design, and another one is data storytelling and visualizations, meaning for people who design and present a lot of numbers, charts, and the like. Yeah. So these two trainings is not the typical training, as in people will always relate. Are you going to train us on PowerPoint or Excel or what? So these two training, it is not two base related training. I will not teach you about PowerPoint. So for those come for my training, they're supposed to know how to use PowerPoint. Take it as an extension of PowerPoint that you might have attended, right? Some company or some people might have invested their time and also their money in learning how to use PowerPoint as a tool. But at the end, you just learn the tool. How do you really put up a proper presentation visually that is effective and engaging? So that is the level that I'm going to teach, right? So you might have learned Excel in creating charts, analyzing data, but at the end, you cannot present and you might not be able to present the key insights in a more effective way. So that is where data storytelling and visualization come along in helping you for a more advanced level in bringing the message out. So in these two training, right, I always focus back to the three things, right? The three core, the structure, how you structure the message, be it for your proposal, or be it for data analytics that you have analyzed, you want to talk about. So how do you structure the message for people to understand and know it very clearly? Then structure, after knowing structure, I will walk them through on how to visualize it, right? So there are many type of visualization we can use in our PowerPoint or in our presentation slides. We can use image, we can use icon, we can use illustrations, we can use diagrams, and we can use charts. So these are the five big visuals that mostly you can see on the charts, right? So how can we effectively, in what circumstances, in what a scenario that we use, what type of visuals in represent your message, right? So that last part, then only we move on to the design part, where I will walk them through or share some knowledge on design principles, about the color, about the contrast, about the alignment, and the like. So all these three things is all in part in the training process, in the training modules, the structure, the visuals, and also the design. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So I think we are nearing the end of the show, but before that, I think I would like to ask your opinion in terms of what are the future trends in terms of slide design and visual storytelling that you foresee will have more impact at or more more effective lah.
Right. So future trends, I don't see much because PowerPoint have been here for long, right? So recently, there's a lot of apps that comes out, like how to quickly in automating your design, or maybe automating in cutting shots of wordings and all these things, or even like Canva and all those. It's an extension of a design job, right? So that help us in getting design. So you can have marketplace, as in I can see there's a lot of marketplace that's selling templates after templates, right? But I always suggest not to really rely a lot on templates, because you are the master of the design. You should design from scratch in order to bring out your message, because templatized design difficult to fit into the message that you want to deliver, right? So yeah, those are some of the trends. Even Microsoft is trying to upgrade and make the PowerPoint more advanced, like more and more tools and features is being added on. So what I want to see really the future trend, and I hope that I can develop that, right, is like one click, it helped me to design the slides out, right? I just put all my criteria, then it pops all my decks already done and ready to be presented. So that is my future state that I hope that I can develop, or I can see something out from there, like in the market.
Don't we all wish for that?
Yeah.
So I think there are some of that is moving towards that, and I think that is where the AI comes from. And I'm
Mm,
seeing a lot of AI kind of tool are being generated now, even in design, in calculation, and so many things. So I think like we are moving towards more automation and AI implementation. Like right now, we can even like type, and then like the the AI can make a video for you based on the text. So
yes.
it's quite ridiculous what we can do right now. So I
Yes.
think those are maybe the things that we should look at as well, because it will make a lot of our job easier and
Yeah.
more effective and impactful.
Mm,
So we are at the end of the show. We want to thank Irvin for coming in. If you guys want to know more, you can connect with him on LinkedIn, Irvin Hoh, or go to the website www.powervisualstorytelling.com. If you see, if you find that the content is helpful, do share with your friends and family that will also be able to take advantage of our sharing today. And it also be part of our community in Facebook, which is Green Design Nation, where we have more of this conversation and other things regarding green design and the business of sustainability. With that, thank you very much, Erwin, again for coming in. For everyone
thank
else,
you.
thank you for your time. See you next week and have a green week ahead. Bye bye, guys.
Thank you.